What's going on, guys? Welcome into a special edition of Mean Streets, aka Dangle Bet Selly. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here with you. And as you see, we are doing an Underdog fantasy best ball draft, but we are doing it hockey style. EY, what is up? We are in here. We are drafting in about 40 seconds. We see some familiar faces in here. Got to give them a shout out as well. Moods. EY, what is up? I don't even know where you're picking. Oh, you're picking 12 and I'm picking 10. This
12.
will be a blast. What's up?
Oh man, hockey's right around the corner, and this happens every year. It sneaks up on me. I take that exhale breath from all the madness of the off season for the NFL, and then next thing I know, I'm crunching numbers, looking at depth charts, and oh God, this is making me sick to my stomach, man. And I'm excited.
I love it. I'm excited too. I've done a couple of these. You've done a couple of these. We have an FTN Fantasy Hockey Draft Kit going to be live here at ftnfantasy.com this week with rankings, projections, some best ball stacks, some targets, some fades, some sleepers, some division previews. It's all here. Futures. Also a shout out to DJ Sabers, DJ Mitchell in the house as well. These guys are true fantasy hockey psychos, and we may just be the rooks in here with these with this crew. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And we are off and running. And I think it's better just kind of share this way. And we'll figure it out together as we draft. Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, Kaprizov, David Pastrnak, pick 7 here. And then we get into the back end of the draft with us. What are you thinking? How do you like actually the way that started? No real surprises. Those are the first 4 that are going to be off the board.
No real surprises to me. I really like that Pastrnak pick. I think, him and Bergeron and Marchand reunited again, if all of them are healthy. I mean, it's still maybe the best line in hockey. So
I was going to do Kill McCarr there. He just went. Barkov, I'm interested in. Rantanen. We could talk the scoring if you're just new and familiar. We'll just get this first round out of the way, and we'll roll through everything that Underdog has to offer here. Mikko Rantanen actually is not a bad little pick there, but I still like the Panthers. I'd like to have a convo here too as well. If people are hanging out live in the chat, you see some people in here. DJ Mitchell, what's up? Good, sir. You just made the pick, right? Kucherov, love it. Kucherov and Makar was hoping that those guys would fall to me at 10.
I'm going
you are up here
the
now.
Yos man.
The Yossi. You got your boy right on.
And go ahead and take the new shot.
Baited it as well. Okay. All right. Igor Shesterkin off the board. Giddy up. Don't hate that he went ahead of Vasilevsky, but do you want to walk me through your thought process between the two?
Yeah, won the Vezina, was dominant. Look at Vasilevsky, if you want to pick him before, I'm never going to argue with you. I still think he is one of, if not still, the best goalie in the league. But I think New York takes another step with some of the younger guys on the back end taking a step this year. And I think Shesterkin could very easily win the Vezina again.
For sure. I definitely don't doubt that. I guess I'm a Florida Panthers fan again this year. Last year, it was so nice to get that stack. It was very easy. Barkov was, a second, sometimes late second, third. Same with Huberdeau. Those guys we talked about didn't really get the respect at the start of the season. And, Bennett and Reinhart, cheap, and Duclair, one of our faves, certainly cheap. But now the offense may look a little bit different this year, man. Huberdeau leaving that's a significant loss. I like Matthew Tkachuk, but Huberdeau is a pass first guy. He's a playmaker. He's a terrific player overall. I still think there's a lot of nice pieces on the Panthers, but do you think that they'll regress a little bit offensively? They were just, it was really an historic pace that they kept up all year.
Yeah. New coach. And I believe, I love Barkov. I wanted him to be a Nashville Predator. I was so mad when they took Seth Jones because I knew, like a lot of people here knew, we didn't need another defenseman. And Barkov, I knew he was going to be a beast. I wanted him in Nashville bad. The thing is I think Huberdeau was the engine of that offense and of that line and of that power play. He's what made things go. And he might be the best winger in the league right now.
Yeah, and he got paid, and there he goes right there. Just after UC Soros.
He should. He is an unbelievable player.
And I know what Florida was thinking there. They're really strapped with the Bobrovsky contract, right? They have to trade some of these pieces away. And Calgary did pretty good knowing that, they were going to lose Johnny Hockey. Matthew Tkachuk didn't want to sign a huge extension there. They're going to lose these guys. I think they did pretty good in Huberdeau and being able to get Kadri, Mackenzie Weegar, and then locking up Huberdeau. I thought initially it was like, he'll probably play the year and that'll be it. And it's a tough loss for the Flames, but they made it work. We're just at the end of the second here. Your boy Philip Forsberg goes off the board. So let's just recap the first round. As we mentioned, the top four, that's just going to be the case. Your preference, I agree, actually, and how the top four went. I could see myself going Nate over Draisaitl, but we're splitting hairs here. The scoring system, the setup, 6 points for a goal, 4 for an assist, 0.5 for a power play point. You get a point for a shot, a point for a block, half a point for a hit, 6 points for a win, 0.6 for a save, and a -3 for a goal against. 3 goalies off the board. Man, Sorokin was a steal last year. He's kind of all over the place here a bit, but he's definitely a target of mine. So the first 4 off the board, then Kaprizov, Pasternak, Ovechkin, Kucherov. Again, no real surprises here. Boston a little bit shorthanded to start the season, but Pasta is just he's a volume shooter. Makar, Barkov to myself, Brady Tkachuk. You went Yossi, Shesterkin as well, back to back there at the 12th spot. Hedman, I went Matthew Tkachuk, paired him up there with some, that Florida duo. Makar, Rantanen, Timo Meier, Kyle Connor, your boy, UC Saros, Huberdeau, Mitch Marner, Vasilevsky, Philip Forsberg, and Johnny Hockey to round out round 2. Why don't you talk me through your expectations with Johnny Hockey, Columbus, since we talked about that first part of the move, while I pick here, get ready to go.
I mean, it was an unexpected location. I mean, for a guy that could have played, pretty much anywhere. Anywhere he wanted to play, the team was going to figure it out. And they announced that he was going to Columbus. I don't know if it made a ton of sense, but someone with vision like that, his ability to, get into the zone and set up a, kind of an umbrella and just kind of get the puck into the offensive zone. He might be the best player that Patrick Laine has ever played with. And those two together, we won't know until we see them play, but that combination of vision and passing from Johnny Hockey and Laine's ability to shoot the puck and just know how to get it in the net is something that can't be taught. And he's proven that he's good. And I think this year will be even better.
Talk dirty to me. All right, you're up. Back-to-back picks. But I really like what you said there, with I think, you can expect maybe certainly some regression from Johnny Hockey. He was really fantastic and efficient last year. That line was amazing. And maybe he doesn't live up to that end of the second round, value there. I think it's fine for where he went. I would maybe target some shooters, Gensel, DeBrincat. I think I'm maybe more interested in those guys, but he's going to make other players around him better. Like you said, Patrick Laine is a proven goal scorer. If Boone Jenner starts the season, in between those two, he's going to be interested in bangers leagues. Yep. We like those formats as well.
Love Jenner.
And I really, really like Jack Hughes here. Can I do it over Aho? And in the draft that you and I were in, I took him into the third. I think that this is a steal, 46 ADP. I'm gonna go with Eichel here. He's a little bit more proven for me. I think there's a slightly higher ceiling. That was a tough call for me. I really like Jack Hughes.
I love Jack Hughes. I've had him, almost every year that he's played. I think this year, again, the New Jersey Devils take a step forward, especially offensively. What's scary is he is slight, and playing the center position, he gets banged around a lot and is asked to do a lot of things I don't think he's great at. But I really like Jack Hughes. Eichel is, I don't know if there's a player in the league with a higher ceiling. I just don't know
such a
about
wild
his health still. Like, we haven't seen it in 2 or 3 years, and that's scary. That at that point, he could turn into, at that point, he could still turn into your number one player. But with Vegas, man, who knows?
I know, right? And the window is just so small now with this team. They've traded so many prospects and picks away. Man, it's crazy. Pacioretty was just given away. It's like, here you go, get him off the books. And unfortunately for him and the Hurricanes, he's going to miss a majority of the season, if not all of it.
This is the price that you pay, right? When you're going for it, and you're,
Stone and Pietrangelo, they really, Leonard, right? They really went at it. It could cost them. Vegas, though, I don't know if will it ever, though? Do people want to go there and they want to play there? Like, I could see them always attracting.
It seems that way, but I think that is souring. Just the way, you've heard players that have played there, how they talk about being discarded and just it's a fine line, right? As a GM, you're trying to win, and the reality is, as a GM and a coach, and you're trying to win now, and not even the people in the front office of the Vegas Golden Knights thought that they would be that good that quick. I don't care what they say. Nobody thought they were going to be that good that quick, and all of a
No.
sudden they were, and they could see the Stanley Cup right there, and the window was wide open, and they were all in. And every move they made was not thinking about this year, not thinking about next year. It was thinking about right now. And I mean, I think this year they're going to pay the price. I don't think they're going to be very competitive at all. Like, who do they have playing goal? Thompson and somebody
Yeah,
who,
they're
like, dude, geez,
yeah,
it's brutal.
they're gonna struggle between the pipes, and they've played a lot of like low scoring games lately. But Bruce Cassidy will maybe change up their style a little bit, help them tighten up, maybe potentially. There's a lot of things that I didn't like about what they've done. With getting rid of Gerard Gallant. I never liked the Peter
No, I didn't like
DeBoer.
that either.
I didn't like the move to Leonard either. I just thought he showed upside, but health was a big concern on the ice, staying on the ice healthy. That was the concern for me. And I know, unfortunately, you're not going to see him again this year. There goes Sorokin. Shout out to DJ Sabres on the clock right now. He went Aho. So I wonder if he struggled with that decision at all either. I love the Fiala pick, man. You just burned me there.
Yep.
Hughes, Aho. I wonder if he was debating. I saw Eichel play twice live twice, once with you in Nashville and another time in Vegas, where he actually scored the OT winner against your boys, the Sens. And he was just so amazing to watch play.
Yeah.
Just so talented. Ooh, Tage Thompson. I don't think it's too early for me. Oh, Brent Burns, I like. Could I take care of the D? I could probably do that on the way back. I'm actually going to. This might be a slight reach. I'm going to do Shabbat here. He's another wild card, right?
I respect
Health,
that.
but oh my goodness, 26 plus minutes per game over the last 3 years. DJ says Eichel Aho, so he would have went Eichel. Aho is definitely the safer pick over Hughes. Maybe I was just overthinking that too much. You're going back to back here, Marchand. Okay, he might miss a little bit of time, but your best ball is the best format to take him. You're going to be fine there, and he comes back. You're going to have a good player on your hands, and then you got another one coming here. Yeah, I mean, the Sens are loaded offensively. I even say loaded. They do have a really good top six, though. They have, there you go, with another defenseman, O'Reilly, and then Stützle goes. Your Sens, go ahead. There's the mic. Talk them up, dude. People are going to be all over him this year.
I do feel like I a lot of times with hockey is I'm a year early. When we were, both working for the Athletic and I was writing, like there's tons of players that I wrote about that you got to have on your team and you need, and it didn't happen until the year after. Fiala was a guy that I wrote about. Jesper Bratt was a guy I wrote about. Kreider was a guy that I wrote about, and it was all just a year early. I mean, people were tired of me talking about the Sens and how they're scrappy they are. And, I love the coach. I love a lot of the players, and I think a lot of the younger guys, like Josh Norris, is in a position to just be a point producer all year. I know, we don't really know the lines, but my guess is he'll center that top line. I know Giroux is a centerman, but I don't. I mean, I think that he's going to play wing there, and Stützle, I think, takes. They're betting on him. They bet on him financially, and I think that shows that they believe he's going to take another step forward, and so do I. Thomas Chabot is a minute muncher, just a guy that never comes off the ice. I love that pick there, like you said, with health and everything. But I mean, you could say that about any player, man. I just believe that the Ottawa Senators this year are going to be twice as good as they were last year. And I think they were a competitive team last year. Very competitive.
Yeah, it is a little high, I will say. Defenseman 9 is roughly where I have him ranked, but minutes per game is going to be top 3.
Yep.
For in terms of shots for defenseman, he's going to be top 5. I mean, he was averaging 3 shots per game. The offense is a little bit more improved. He's going to block a ton of shots because defensively they have a lot of holes. I like their duo in net. I like the direction that they're going, but defensively, let's be honest, I mean, this is not going to be a great defensive team. They should play in a lot of high-scoring games, really, even with as good as their goaltending is. So Nurse goes there. We could have a Nurse and Bouchard convo. Fleury goes there to Moods. It's a great pick. That's probably what I should have did on the, in this turn here. It's a bit of a goalie run I'm seeing. It's not the end of the world. But this is the run, really. I mean, it started in the 5th here with Sorokin, Frederick Anderson, Ottinger. I was debating actually Ottinger over Thomas, and then I thought, no, maybe I'll get Fleury on the way back, and then I went Braden Point there. But here's the run: Ottinger, and then into 6th, Jari Kemper. Kemper on a new team in Washington this year. Jack Campbell on a new team with the Oilers this year. Bobrovsky, Fleury. They decided to stick with him and move on from Cam Talbot, who's in Ottawa. Jordan Binnington, and then we're back into the 7th. John Tavares, Elias Patterson. Some pretty good value there. Actually, I was debating between Point and Tavares, but I think Tavares is kind of headed in the wrong direction. But I think in the 7th round, that's pretty good value, man. He still does have a lot to offer offensively to your buds, EY.
Yeah, for sure. I think I mean, it's the same thing. Like, they have to figure out the back end. I think Muzzin is well past his prime. I think Morgan Riley is getting close, but I think he's the number one. He'll play on the power play. He'll play a ton of minutes and play with really, really good players, which is why I reach for him a little bit. I just think that points wise, assists wise, and he's going to be asked to do everything for them like he has for the last 4 or 5 years. So we'll see. And Matt Murray obviously is a huge question mark, but I think you could do worse.
Yeah, my goalies are going to be they're not going to be great. I'm going to still pass here at the goalie position. Oh, Pierre-Luc Dubois. We should just do it for the show and for George, right?
Yeah.
Our guy, PLD. I think I'll have to do that for him. I knew I wasn't going to get Tage Thompson on the way back from DJ Sabres, who's a Sabres dude, who gets Tage Thompson there, who's a winger here, which is interesting, of course, because, I mean, he has triple eligibility in Yahoo leagues and things like that, but he is a center on what was a really good line last year. In Buffalo, Skinner and Tuck, those are 2 real good values as well. Alex Tuck, oh man, I think he's a great target in your fantasy hockey league, especially if you're playing with shots or you usually play with shots, but hits. He can contribute in that format as well. Did you make some picks here? Caulfield,
Yeah.
okay, Gibson. Yeah. I may go Talbot here. It's just a split, right? It's a split. I don't love that it's a split. Merge Lincoln's could actually be okay. There are a couple goalies I could stay on this show. Quick and even we kind of were all over Thompson and Knight. Those are interesting guys there. I'm gonna take Talbot. I'm on the Sens here. I'll take Talbot. The pick probably should have been Norris to get that nice little stack there with the Sens, but Hyman goes right after. We'll bring up the draft board again for people here. So what were your last couple picks? Let's walk through this. Cole Caulfield.
Yep. I think, like we saw, but for me, I saw everything I need to know is Marty St. Louis is going to put pressure on this guy to be the player that we all thought he was going to be. And he can score. And in this kind of format where it's 6 points for a goal, I want wingers that are going to score, and I think he's going to score a ton. I don't know if Montreal is going to be any good, but I believe Cole Caulfield is going to score 30 plus this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he almost did that. There goes Norris as well. Yeah, you do want to target some shooters here. Some goal scorers are really hard to come by. So people are unfamiliar with this format. It's best ball, right? You don't got to worry about waiver wire stuff. You have big weeks from certain players, right? I mean, that's why we mentioned Marchand. By the time he gets playing again, he has a big week for you, carry you for a week, and you move forward that way. We did address the scoring earlier. I think it's not the end of the world to stack. It does make some sense, kind of like football, where you don't really have to obviously worry about bye weeks in here, which is nice because sometimes, when you're hosting a show and you're trying to answer some questions, you get caught up in some bye weeks. Oh crap! 3 of my tight ends are on the same bye week. Oh, they stink anyways because one of them Cole Kmet. Moods on the clock here. So anyways, all good there. we're having some fun here on this show. We got fantasy hockey content over at ftnfantasy.com. Promo code FTN20. Save yourself 20% off. Rankings over there. We got we'll have sleepers, busts, stacks, all that good stuff as well. And I know DJ Mitchell's drafting. He's in the house with us as well. And he does some live shows and some picks. He's a sharp guy. Follow him in Moods. I don't know if Moods is hanging out in the show, but those guys are super sharp. He says, when I miss on the top 4 picks, my goal is to beat everyone at the winger position and at least 2, if not 3, score a week. Yeah, 3 of 12 teams advance, and we believe it's the best strategy. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty solid strategy as well. I do like the idea of having stacks, and it worked out very successful last year, winning a few bucks, like I said, with that Panther stack. Are there a couple teams that you're interested that when we talked about the Sens, there are a couple other teams that you think this year Detroit could be improved offensively? And they got some sneaky guys, some late sleepers on that squad. Any other teams come to your mind that could, your juggernaut stack for you potentially?
Yeah, I think, Anaheim, I think, is going to be a team that takes a step forward as well. I think, defensively, they're not what they were, but I think, Zegras is a star. He's just one of those guys that's just going to get it done and is compelling to watch. Like you said, Detroit, Dylan Larkin is a player that I'm trying to get everywhere. His draft position right now is pretty low for what I think he could be and what his value could be. Marcus Raymond, Bertuzzi. They've got a lot of good players there. And Steve Yzerman waving that magic wand over the Detroit Red Wings, and they're on their way, man. And I think they're ahead of schedule. And I think this year they'll be pretty competitive. Trying to think of offhand and the other teams. I think Vancouver will take a pretty big step here. A guy late I like taking is Brock Besser. I think, Bruce just changed, what did he everyone said, it's, like he just turned him into a different player. What did he tell him? Shoot the puck, man. Shoot the puck. And he did. And he started to score. Love him and JT Miller on that team. I think we're all kind of still waiting for Elias Patterson to become the thing that we think he can be. And it could be this year. And where he's going in drafts, like where he went here, he's the number 1 center. And when he's on, man, he is spectacular.
Just took your boy Nichushkin. He's kind of buried down here. He should be a little bit higher than this. Of course, Pacioretty's going to miss some time. You got pass first guys in Stone and Giroux there. I'm not in on Stone at all. I just don't think he's going to be on my bust list this year. I'm not going to have too many shares of him. I know it would make sense with Eichel. I don't want a guy who's dealing with back injuries and really does not like to shoot the puck. And Giroux, I think he's going to be fine there. He's one of the couple Sens that I don't really want to have too many shares. I think he might be going a little bit too early. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to rack up some points, but I believe I'd rather DeBrincat, Norris, Chabot. I definitely have no issues with Brady Tkachuk. I think I'm out on Batherson. I like Batherson as a player, but I don't know, man. There might be some stuff going on in Ottawa this year. You like Claude Giroux? What do you project for him?
Yeah, I think, he's not the player that he was. He's still an unbelievable player. Last season, Preds played Philadelphia. In Philadelphia during his it was his last game as a Philadelphia Flyers, and they won. And he was, in my opinion, he was the best player on the ice. I know he's older, and I know that he's not fleet of foot and this, that, and the other, but I think Claude Giroux is a really good player. I think he's going to bring really a lot of leadership and really like these intangible things that the Ottawa Senators need. A guy that's kind of been there and done it, played in the Olympics, played for the Stanley Cup, won an MVP. Like, he's done a lot of things. And I think he's going to be invaluable with off the ice, but also will be a contributor on the ice as well.
Yeah, he's going to bring a lot of leadership to that squad. There's no question about that. Okay, so absolutely. Okay, let's a lot of defense been going here in the last last couple of rounds. It started with Zach Werenski. I like that pick from DJ Sabres. Yeah, for sure. He's a great target in here. Like a lot of these guys, I was aggressive on Chabot, but get your guys. Nurse, I don't think I got into that, but Nurse and Bouchard was within like 30 points of him in this setting. And I know that Nurse played 10 fewer games, but what I noticed from Nurse when they made the coaching changes, he lost a lot of his power play time. You go look at his splits, it was like well over a minute per game. And then he averaged 2 seconds per game in April. And then throughout the playoffs, I know he's dealing with an injury, but they were going Barry and Bouchard is going to throw his body around as well. He likes to shoot. He's got some offensive upside to his game. So I don't know. I think the gap should be a little bit tighter. It reminds me of Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. A little bit tighter gap. Love maybe just passing on him, like your Morgan Riley pick. But here, like Hamilton, Burns, Werenski, those guys are really good targets.
Yeah.
And then you see in the
I
ninth
love Dougie
round,
Hamilton, man. I love him.
good bounce back candidate this year, right?
Fantasy wise, like, dude, he's such a slick player, such a good skater, just super smart guy, super smart player. And for New Jersey, I think he's going to log a ton of minutes.
He dealt with like a broken foot and fractured face last year. Had to wear the bird cage. I mean, it's tough. You go from a visor to a bird cage. It really is. It's an adjustment, especially a defenseman. And then you get in here to other defensemen as well. McAvoy's going to miss a bit of time. Pietrangelo, Dolan, Taves, Quinn Hughes goes this late, in Yahoo, ESPN, you see him go as a top 10 defenseman. In leagues that we play in with hits and shots and blocks, he's actually not a top 10 defenseman. He gets overdrafted in those formats. He finished last year, I was looking into it, 17th overall at the defense position with those categories. I mean, he had 32 power play points, 32, 33, they were all assists. He's a really good player. He had basically a 70-point player, but just know your settings and scoring system. I think this is actually pretty good value here in the ninth. It's kind of where he should go in around this range. Shea Theodore in there. I went Noah Dobson. I am a believer in what we saw from him in the second half. I loved him, coming, early, and I loved his World Junior days, Team Canada. It just seemed like he was a really good player there.
Yep.
Heiskanen, no Klingberg.
He started playing some pretty important minutes for the Islanders last season too, right?
He did. He took over like PP1 and things like that over Pollock. Heiskanen, more opportunity for him this year. Interesting target. No, the Stars don't score a lot of goals. I like some other moves offensively. I like Mason Marchment. But no Klingberg there, Seth Jones, and then there goes Evan Bouchard, and I'm coming up. So, okay, giddy up. What do you walk me through what you're thinking here? Actually, I'm kind of up on the clock. I won't steal any of your picks. You're coming up too. Let's take a look at the board.
Do what you got to do.
Duchesne, he's going to regress. Adrian Kempe's here as a center that always throws me off, and I may pick him. I probably should pick your boy Duchesne. Terry's not bad here. Trouba is actually pretty good in this setting. Quick, do I get my second goalie now? It's a little early. I'm gonna go with Terry. I think I think you should go higher than this.
Me too.
Some other wingers here on the board. Patrick's not gonna play. Wheeler's kind of done. Perron, I like Perron. There's a pretty good target. Arvidsson, your boy, some health.
Took Suzuki. I was going to take.
You wanted the half stack?
Yep.
I love it. Suzuki and Caulfield. Okay, what are you thinking here? You go back to back.
I need another center, and I love Jordan Kyrou here.
Oh, yeah, I love that pick too.
Real good player, and a guy that I think is going to log a ton of minutes on the point. I want to take another defenseman, Jacob Chikrin. I get they're playing in a high school gym, but that's not going to matter for fantasy.
Oh my goodness. They're going to move on from him, right? He's going to, I mean, they've been trading everybody, so why not just trade him and get some picks? I don't know.
He's going to play there this year. Spot. And, what did I say about Forsberg last year? If there's ever a year for Jacob Chikrin to play his best hockey, it's this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a beast, and mark my words. I know this is being recorded, but we'll just have to remember to pull it back up.
Timestamp it, Tyler. 28 minutes. So
Tyler doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
No, I know. Not a big hockey guy here, but that's okay. He'll learn. He'll be he'll be with us when we're calling goals and shot props and things like that. Get your guys. I'm not worrying too much about ADP. There's some things here that I think is a little there's some edges. Certainly there's some guys I really like where some players are going right now that I feel like maybe should have been a little bit earlier, but we did steal a stack from DJ. My bad. Terry Zegras. I didn't know you had Zegras, and you got a piece of mine earlier. I wanted Fiala in this range. Kempe may have been a little bit. I just really like him, but I'm surprised to see Matt Duchesne not go yet. And people are just on the regression. I think he only had one 30-goal campaign before. I think his career high was 72 points maybe. And that you got to go back to like 2012 or something from the Avs days. But you were on this bounce back from him, from Johansson, from Forsberg. What do you think? How much does he regress? Maybe he's not a 40-goal scorer. Is he a 30? He's
I think he
close
could.
to a
I
point
think a
per
lot
game.
of it's going to just depend on the team. I mean, it's not a lot different than it was last year. Duchesne is going to play a very important role. I think he's going to be the number one center. And if you want somebody playing with Forsberg, it's probably him. I mean, Forsberg is undoubtedly their best offensive player, and I know they definitely were very close. I think Duchesne ended up having one or two more goals than him last season, but Duchesne turned into the player that we were all hoping he was going to be. We've seen that Matt Duchesne before. We hadn't seen it in a couple of years. We certainly didn't see it the season before the last. Oh man, people wanted him gone. I mean, they're praying that Seattle Kraken took
him. This, as we kind of get into this round, LA is one of those cheap stacks that I like. I like the Kings. I like the Kings a lot, actually. Drew Doughty just goes in the 13th. I think that is absolutely terrific. Before he suffered the injury, he was a top 10 fantasy hockey defenseman. You don't have to draft him as a top 10 guy. You're drafting him, I don't know, quick math. We're into the 20s now for sure at D. You get him in the 13th round. Love the pick. Kopitar is a bit of a pass first guy, but man, he is 70 points. I think this could be pretty much the best combo that he's had. I know he played a little bit with Gabrick. Kempe is a pure sniper, guys. This guy is the real deal. I think he has a 40 goals upside, and Fiala is fantastic too. So if that's a trio, plus with all the other pieces, the Moore, Arvidsson, and Deneau, and some of the other young up and coming pieces that they have, I think they're a little weak in goal. I do believe Quick is still the guy, but the Kings are going to make some noise this year. I do believe EY. They're gonna be a tough team to play against. 5-5, really they don't give up a whole lot.
And not, I mean, if Kopitar can, I mean, I know he's not going to be the player that he was, but I mean, there was a point where Kopitar was one of the best 200-foot players in the league. If he can recapture some of that, and he's got, Arvidsson, he's got Kempe, he's got Fiala, he's got all these young players, Kaliev, there's all these really fast, super good players. I think Quinn Byfield takes a huge step this year, becomes a real player for the Kings. I love the Los Angeles Kings. I love them, man.
We're in them together. I hope I get Quick here. There it is. So Quick is he's a late round target for me. I would like to have an elite goalie. If looking back on this draft, I probably should have gone. When I was looking at Ottinger, I kind of had like a brain fart here in this range. I don't mind Point at all, but I was looking in between Thomas and Point. I was thinking to myself, a send stack maybe with Norris and Thomas, or like Jake Ottinger. I think Jerry's a fine pick. Any one of these guys, really. I'm not so much into Bobrovsky and Campbell, but Fleury, I was thinking Jerry and Ottinger. But if you, I'm on the clock again. If you miss out on some goalies, I think Quick is a decent target there.
Yeah,
and
really good.
Duchesne just went, and it's about time. I think that's disrespect. Yeah. He has almost turned into a value at this point.
I mean, it could be a great value. I mean, as a person that lives in the city, I just don't know what to expect from the Predators. I just don't know what to expect. I think Saros stays healthy. They're going to be competitive. It can be in every game. He's one of the best goalies in the league. Yossi is, has been in the Norris discussion for the last 3 or 4 years. He is the engine, right? There's no doubt. Just handsome devil, kind human being, and more importantly, just an unbelievable hockey player. So lucky I get to watch this guy play every night, man. He's just
no doubt. Chris
Mason, a former goalie here, they coined him the night crawler because he's just like, he brings the puck in, he's behind the net, and then there's a breakaway, and he's back playing defense. You're like, how did that happen? He's an unbelievable player, man. Unbelievable player.
Okay, so in that range, I took Bennett. I'm a Bennett guy, but also I am slightly worried about he could lose some playing time at the second, as a second line center. We talked about the Panthers already, so I'm kind of already not all in on them, but I think it made sense, even though a fifth center there, it did make sense, I think, to go with a third Florida Panther. In between that, you took two really good targets. Love Mangiapane. I think he's is another guy. He should be going much earlier than this. All he does is
Yep.
score goals. And his center
And
last
it's
year,
going
for
to
the
be
most
leaned
part,
on
was
even more,
back.
right?
Exactly.
Yep.
He's going to play with Kadri or Lindholm this year. That's really what it's going to be. Toffoli, I think those guys can swap around. Maybe Toffoli's a better fit with Kadri. Maybe it's Toffoli, Huberdeau, and Lindholm. But Mangiapane should be locked into a top 6 role all year. Okay. Let's recap here. We got a little bit left in this draft. A couple goalies there. I think Spencer Knight is a good, decent target there in the 14th as well. Jake Allen goes there to puck luck. Jay, going to need some puck luck for some wins, but I do believe Jake Allen could be a decent target towards the end. You did get points for saves, so we'll say that, but I do believe the Habs will be, again, one of the worst teams in the league. Ricard Raquel goes here in this range. Matthew Barzal, wow, pretty late. Another pass first guy, though. I do believe he'll bounce back. Let's see what that system looks like in New York. I'd like to see him play with some other guys this year, right? Wallstrom, maybe. Let's put those two neck and neck. Let's see what kind of noise they make. I do like Trocheck in here, as well as debating between him and Reinhart. It may have made a little bit more sense with Fox, but I don't know how much power play one time Trocheck will get. In fact, I don't think he'll get too much at all. DJ checks in with a comment on your boy Arvidsson, who we met at the Bell Center that time. His highest exposure player is Arvidsson. Yeah, expected shots for, scoring chances for, shot attempts. He was that whole line, right?
Yeah,
it was one of the better shot props to attack when Arvidsson was healthy and playing. Deneau was surprisingly a lot better offensively than I thought he would be.
Yeah, I mean, better than they thought. I mean, like he just,
no doubt.
he produced all year. I mean, there's no secret for me that Arvidsson loves to shoot the puck. He's really, really good at it, and he'll shoot it from anywhere. I mean, guys like that, like this is how you produce offense. You can't score unless the puck is going towards the net, and Arvidsson has never seen a shot that he doesn't like. So, love him as a player.
I like that. Okay, we're getting down to the last couple rounds here. We're picking some sleepers. I don't know the makeup of your team. What do you got on the go here? You got 2 goalies, 5 wingers, 4 centers, 3D. I like to load up more so on the wingers than the centers, but this is a different draft for me here where I got 5 of them. There are a lot of centers that are wingers that I like that I want to draft, like Kempe, who is a solid winger to take in drafts. I won't be looking at center here anymore. Lehkonen, fantastic playoff run. The Avs are certainly going to miss Kadri on the second line, even though I took Nichushkin. We could see some Nichushkin. Lehkonen just goes in front of me there. We could see some Nichushkin up on that top line with Nate, who just got paid, and Lehkonen. We could see them balance it out with Landeskog on the second line. Avs should still be a juggernaut, EY.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt there. I think a guy that you can get really late is Newhook, and I mean he could be the number 2 center for them, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean he's got the foot speed for sure to keep up with the pace of play that the Colorado Avalanche want to play. And when he played and when he was asked to play, he looked really, really good. So that's a guy that you can pick super late. All right.
We're into the last pick here. It's not as deep, of course, as football, into 18 rounds. So I will take a 4th defenseman. I think any one of these guys. Hannafin was on my radar as my 4th. He went there just before me. That's what I was going to do before the Palat pick. I love Verhaeghe. There's no reason for him to go this late. It's another guy. He's going
to play in the top line in Florida.
I know you screwed me on that pick.
Sorry, buddy.
But I love it. I love it.
You asked me to come.
Oh, and I'll always ask you. I'll always ask you. Let's go Klingberg. Is that going to screw DJ? Are you trying to get that full duck stack there? Not a bad little late round pick, right? Is your 4th defenseman. Upside for sure. Signed a 1-year deal. Interesting, right? Betting on himself. Yep. I think the Ducks are going to like him.
Yeah, love it.
I think the Ducks are really going to like what he brings to the table, especially to that power play. Anderson's a good pick. Niederreiter to your Preds is a nice dart throw there at the end as well. There's a lot of good players here that are not going to be drafted that we can touch on. We have about 6 minutes left in the show, so we'll be able to recap this draft. McTavish is a great late round pick too. Love it. Absolutely love that pick. I think he could get a shot in the top 6 for sure in Anaheim. It should be a little. They got Ryan Strome there too. It should be Frank Vatrano's another guy, right? Volume shooter. They should score some goals this year, man.
Yeah, I really like Vetrano. He looked real good in New York and moved on, and could be a really good little player for them.
See some people in the house. DJ, I almost always draft. So he's talking about his strategy, the 3 centers, 7 wingers. That's usually the roster build for me too, to be honest. The 6 or 7 wingers. Like that comment for those that are just new here to drafting these formats. I know DJ's done a lot of them. Last year, that was my most successful teams as well, actually, when I just decided to go 3D and maybe get that third goalie. I think personally,
I regret not taking a third goalie. Like I'm going to regret, I won't
Yeah.
follow along. Like, I mean, this will be lost in the ether with my 7,000 other teams, but
yeah, I know for sure. We've only done a couple of these here as a group. And here we go. We'll get back into it. Okay, so I was going to touch on that. I will sometimes risk the not having the third goalie. I think for my build, it probably would have definitely made sense as I got a split really with Cam Talbot and potentially Quick. So in that build, I think 3 makes sense. But I think for your build,
because Joe
I think
Sturgeon
you
was
can.
so soon.
I think you could. If you get 2 top 10s or 2 top 12s, you think Gibson could be top 15, top push for top 10.
Mhm.
I think that is fine if you have 2 elite goalies and you can ride those 2. But if you do have maybe some injuries are going to happen, there's some duos, some tandems out there. I think 3 does make a lot of sense. But I dig the 3 defensemen and loading up on more goal scorers, potentially wingers. I kind of like that 4 centers though. I like the 4-6. If I could switch up that strategy, maybe 4-6 maybe for me. But let's recap what went on here. Daily Handle, who has more NHL fantasy teams, EY or Means? I don't know. We're in a lot together.
Yeah,
I know that. I don't know. We're both psychos. I don't know. We're into the double digits, that's for sure. Of just not even best ball. We're not talking best ball here. We'll get past double digits for sure. But for a season long that we'll manage.
With best ball, I'll be probably above 50.
We may have problems. We're not here to talk about our fantasy teams though, although we kind of are. We're going to go through this. Let's walk through your squad. Okay. It may be a better way to just kind of do this. Actually, no, I like the draft order. I like seeing it. How do you like picking at the end?
I love the back-to-back picks, but I hate the long wait.
I'm not a fan.
Oh,
I'm not a fan.
It's excruciating.
You gotta wait.
There's
like
guys
30
there's guys that you like. You have to
You
reach
missed
for
out.
them
You
because
do.
they're not coming back to you because there's 20 something picks in between.
And that's why
tough.
I think it's okay to get your guys right get your guys reach, but yeah, in the middle you don't miss out on any runs. You have, if you're deciding between a couple guys, you could potentially get them. You do have to reach at the end.
On the ends, if you're strategic, like if you really think about it before going in. I didn't have any time to think about it. This is probably my 4th or 5th hockey draft, and look, guys, I just don't have the bandwidth to do football and hockey, all of it at the same time. So I'm catching up to hockey right now.
You're fine. You're fine.
I love this team. The more I look at it, I love it.
Let's walk through it. Roman Josi, Igor Shesterkin, JT Miller, Mika Zibanejad, a couple former teammates there. Brad Marchand, Morgan Riley, Cole Caulfield, John Gibson, Clayton Keller, Brock Besser, Jordan Kyrou, Jacob Chikrin. You got Robert Thomas, Andrew Mangiapane, Victor Olofsson. Came on strong last year. It was pretty good. And Carter Verhaeghe, I think, is a really nice target. He's going to score you 20, 25, could even flirt with 30 playing with those 2. I was hoping to get him to play with my other boys, but that's nice. Yeah. So walk us through. You started D and goalie, so you really did forfeit those elite forwards, but you got arguably the best guys at those 2 positions.
Yeah, I love that. I think where I'm going, like where you're going, like the kind of like sure things offensively, like there are still sure things offensively, but I'm more sure about Roman Josi's production. I'm more sure about your Sturkin's production. You certainly can't win your draft in the first, your first and second pick, but you certainly can lose, and having a top 5 defenseman, top 3 defenseman, and maybe the best or second or third best goalie. Like, it sets me up for success. The reality is a lot of this is guessing, and Connor Verhaeghe could be my most productive player. That would not
Well, he's
surprise
already
me.
shown he can be.
I think it would surprise a
Yeah.
lot of people. But just the value of goal scorers and people that are going to get assists and stuff like that later on in the draft is much deeper at the wing and at the center position, especially at the wing. Like, I get having a bunch of wingers is important, but where I can get some of these guys way later in the draft, I'm gonna kind of stock up on goalies and defensemen and even centermen, because it's a more scarce position.
Yes. I agree with that. So we'll run through my team, then we'll get out of here. You guys have any questions, you can leave them watching the replay. Of course, you guys know that you can always leave questions and we'll get to them. It's going to be a lot of hockey talk on Mean Streets over the next couple of weeks as we get set up for the new season. Just 2 weeks away, really, from puck drop. I went with Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, so went with the Florida duo off the top. Adam Fox, I feel like I got myself a top 5 fantasy hockey defenseman. Jack Eichel, a bit of a risk play there, but certainly some high upside to be a top 10 center. Shabbat, Braden Point may miss a little bit of time to start, but I think he's going to be good to go, actually. Pierre-Luc Dubois, volume shooters. I was trying to attack some volume shooters after I got a couple guys who could be risky for me. Like, Barkov is not really a volume shooter. Eichel is. Braden Point isn't really. Pierre-Luc Dubois is. Nichushkin is. Troy Terry is. I got Noah Dobson there. I'm definitely weak in goal. There's no question about it with Cam Talbot and Quick. I could have needed it. I probably needed a third defenseman more so than Klingberg at the end here. Palat is going to play in a top 6 role. I don't know if we're going to see a huge drop off from him offensively. He had a really long stretch in Tampa where he cooled off. He was great in the playoffs. Of course, he's going to lose great line mates and Point Kucherov, but he could have an opportunity to play up on that top line with Jack Hughes, whether it's Hughes or Heischer. The Devils got some nice young pieces coming up too. They're going to score some goals. Sam Bennett here could lose his job as the second line center. We could see it's not going to be as much of a high powered offense in Florida, but don't hate the pick at this point. Can provide some grit for me. Scored a lot of goals in the power play, things like that. And that's it. This was fun. Adrian Kempe skipped over maybe my favorite pick, my favorite guy, the shot prop moneymaker, Adrian Kempe, as a center here in this format. So I had to take another just to get Kempe. This was a blast. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us live or again watching the replay. Use promo code FTN. Underdog will match your first deposit using that promo code, and we will do a couple more of these before the season does start. So thanks, guys, for taking the time to hang out, and we will catch you soon. Cheers.